Welcome to another edition of Black Knights Weekly, this time coming to you from the home of Army Soccer, Clinton Field. On this week's show, Rich DeMarco goes one-on-one with cross-country head coach Troy Engle, and we have features on linebacker Nate Combs and goalie Monica Lee. But before we get to that, let's take a look back at the week that was in Army athletics. On Saturday, Michie Stadium was rocking as the football team hosted Northwestern. Quarterback Trent Steelman rushed for 108 yards and all 3 Black Knight touchdowns as Army defeated the Wildcats 21-14. Steelman's last score would be the game winner as he plunged across the goal line with under 3 minutes left in the game. The volleyball team played in their last tournament before Patriot League action as they traveled to the Yale-Quinnipiac tournament. The Black Knights defeated Quinnipiac and New Hampshire while dropping a 5-set match to Yale. For their performances over the weekend, sophomore Megan Wilton was named Patriot League Player of the Week, and freshman Mary Vaccaro was named Rookie of the Week. Sophomore Della Taylor went 4-0 in singles and 4-0 in doubles at the Stony Brook Invite over the weekend. Taylor's partner in doubles was her younger sister, Elle. The Black Knights also sent players to the Quinnipiac Invite. At the Iona Meet of Champions, the men's and women's cross-country teams ran to their best finishes since 1998. The men finished 4th, with senior Barrett Laharty pacing the Black Knights for the second straight meet, finishing 15th out of 222. The women placed 6th, as senior Chelsea Prawl finished 7th out of 202. Also on the gridiron this weekend, the Sprint football team dropped its season opener to rival Navy in the Adirondack Trust Allegiance Bowl. Quarterback Javier Sesteta racked up 405 yards through the air and threw for 3 scores. Saturday night, the men's soccer team hosted LaSalle at Clinton Field. The visitors would score a late goal to pull out the victory. Russell Payne's team was back on the field Tuesday night at Bryant. The Bulldogs would go up 1-0 early, but freshman Devin Purley scored twice in a span of 8 minutes and 17 seconds to give Army the win. The golf team continued their fall schedule at the Bucknell Invitational. After starting the final day tied for 5th, the Black Knights rallied for a second-place finish. Anthony Kim tied for 2nd, while Matt Philly tied for 6th. It was a rare early-season road game for the Army women's soccer team as they traveled to Stony Brook on Friday night. Melissa McClaws scored her first career goal to put Army ahead, and Erin Helbling added a late tally to secure the 2-0 win. On Thursday, the women's soccer team was back at home hosting Howard. Marissa Malta's first career goal would be the game winner as the Black Knights won 1-0. Coming up after this short timeout, Rich DeMarco goes one-on-one with cross-country head coach Troy Engle. That's next.
This is Scott Swanson with our Surgex training tip of the week. Did you know that exercise can help control stress? There are 4 ways exercise can help control that stress. Exercise can help you feel less anxious. Exercise being prescribed in a clinical setting can help treat nervous tension. 2, exercise can relax you. 1 exercise session generates about 90 minutes of relaxation response. 3, exercise can make you feel better about yourself. Think about those times when you feel physically active. Don't you usually feel better? And then 4, exercise can make you eat better. People who exercise regularly tend to eat more nutritious food.
Rich DeMarco back on Black Knights Weekly. It's time now to go one-on-one with Army men's and women's track and field cross-country coach Troy Engle in his 4th year here at West Point. Troy, thanks for a couple minutes here on Black Knights Weekly.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Year number 4 for you. You've won Patriot League championships here. How has it been building the program, taking over a successful program, and also taking it to some new heights?
Well, I can't take credit for building a program. We've had a long-standing tradition of excellence in the sport of track and field here, which was obviously one of the exciting things about being able to come back to West Point. The history and tradition of dominance within the conference that is unmatched. Obviously, the thrill of a handful of pretty fun victories over Navy in the last 3 or 4 years has made it even more exciting. But it's great to be back. I mean, anybody that's known me has known that it's been my lifetime dream to come back and be the head coach here and to have the opportunity to come back and replace Coach Queller and inherit a team that was successful and be able to maintain and build upon that has been exciting.
Troy, you talk about being here previously, 2 other stints at West Point. What did you learn from those stints? How much did those 2 times being here maybe prepare you more for this job? And as you mentioned, taking over a very successful program, and there's challenges in that.
Right. Obviously, the greatest thing it taught me was it was a fantastic appreciation for the quality of men and women that we attract at West Point. I mean, that's clearly the greatest draw of coming here, is to be able to work with the unbelievable men and women that form the core of cadets. The fact that they are outstanding examples of scholar athletes at the highest level of the NCAA is really an exciting challenge and honor for a coach. So I think the things that my experience here gave me, in addition to my own appreciation, was an understanding and an appreciation for the uniqueness of the cadet experience and the differences here as opposed to, say, at Kansas State, where I went after I left here the last time, or at other major Division I institutions where the kids don't have the same lifestyle, the same kind of stresses outside of practice that our kids have. And I think that allowed me to come in and have not only an understanding of the caliber of student that we attracted here and the unique challenges of recruitment from an academic standpoint, but also the unique challenges of coaching from a physical standpoint because of the demands upon the cadets here.
You came here to West Point as the head coach in the fall of '08. Immediately prior to that, you coached the track and field team at the Paralympics in Beijing. What type of perspective, what type of appreciation did you learn from coaching the Paralympic team in that game?
I had a great gig. I working for the U.S. Olympic Committee it really is one of the best jobs in America. I honestly thought that when I took that job, it was probably my step away from college coaching. But again, my family and friends all knew me well enough that when this opportunity came up, it was going to be an impossible thing for me to say no to it, because it had been my dream since having left here. With that said, working particularly in the Paralympic division at the Olympic Committee and having the honor and privilege of working with the Paralympic team, especially in the current climate, was really a very humbling experience. The Paralympic Games have their basis in injured military sport. The Paralympic sport movement was started after the Second World War as a way to integrate, at that point in time, spinal cord injured military back into an active and competitive sport lifestyle. The modern Paralympic Games have had their fair share of injured military, but obviously in the last handful of years, there's been an increase in Paralympic eligible returning military. And so to have our team in Beijing have 4 or 5 folks that had combat-related injuries come back I guess in some ways it really rekindled my interest in coming back to West Point. But I've been able, because of that experience, to come back here and maintain ties with the U.S. Paralympic movement, particularly with the military sports program that they've developed. And I think that experience, for one thing, broadened my perspective also on sport for all, and the fact that competitive sport really doesn't know any bounds. It was a step outside of the collegiate setting of sport, but to work with athletes that most of us in this setting and in our collegiate setting would consider to be non-traditional athletes, but that competed at an exceptionally high level and took it every bit as seriously as a Division I or a professional athlete in any other sport. So it was a great experience, prepared me well to come back. I hadn't stepped away from the competitive sports side of it. I did ride a desk for a couple of years. I dressed like you, in a shirt and tie, which almost choked me. I wasn't as much in shorts and sneakers, and so I was glad to be back and at practice. But it kind of really, if anything, that experience really firmed my commitment to get back to coaching full time.
And Troy, from the Paralympic Games, you come here to West Point, and you mentioned taking over a tremendously successful program. But what are the challenges? What have been some of the things you've gone through, and though building this program in your own image, building your program here at West Point?
I think it hasn't been hard. I've been lucky that there were a couple of real cornerstones of the program, and my 2 assistants, Joe Rogers and Knut Yeltness, who are here, who bridged the gap to the past. But obviously every head coach comes in and puts their unique stamp on the program. So I think that there have been some changes. I don't think that there have been massive changes, although whatever they've been reflective of my personality and the personality of my staff. I think the thing that we take the most pride in is not only the athletic performance of the cadets on our team, but their their experiences and their successes as members of the Corps of Cadets. And I think that that's the one thing that we've tried to really impress upon the kids on the team, that the experiences that they have here of being competitive and being successful, and we strive to do that. We want to beat our friends and our frenemies from down the road. But also all the competitors within the Patriot League know that when we step on the track, winning is an important part of what we do here. The United States Military Academy sport ethos is that winning is important. And so we stress that not only on the field, but also in all their endeavors in cadet life.
Well, Troy, I want to thank you for a few minutes here with us on Black Knights Weekly, and here's to another successful year for Army Track and Field 2011-2012.
Appreciate it. Thanks very much.
That's Army head men's and women's track and field cross-country coach Troy Engle joining us here on Black Knights Weekly. I'm Rich DeMarco. We'll have more of the show coming up in just a moment.
Join the Army A Club today and support cadet athletes 12 months a year. Members of the A Club receive priority consideration for parking, seat locations, pregame hospitality, as well as Army-Navy tickets. But the benefits don't stop there. The A Club also gives members access to special receptions and events throughout the year. To join, visit the A Club link at goarmysports.com or call 845-938-2322. The Army A Club, supporting cadet athletes.
This is what some might call goalie Monica Lee's home away from home. In this area, every game day she turns away shot after shot from every opponent. Here's her story. When senior goalie Monica Lee stepped onto the field in the season opener at Duke, it was a moment she had been waiting for. After sharing the starting goalie duties with Alex Lostetter last year, Lee was finally the #1 goalie on the roster.
It was a really great feeling. I don't really know if I can even explain it to you because it's like 3 years waiting for that. And it was finally my job. It was a really awesome feeling.
Lee has started every game for the Black Knights this season and has 6 shutouts. After watching Lostetter the past few seasons, Lee says she's learned a lot from the program's leader in shutouts.
Biggest thing I think was presence on the field and not only commanding the players but motivating them as well. She did that really well last year.
Head coach Stephanie Golan says she and the rest of the coaching staff are extremely pleased with Lee's performance.
She stepped up and she's really gotten the comfort of the defenders in front of her as well. They know that anything that they give up that's from distance, it's easy for her. She's going to make all the routine saves, and she's also demonstrated that she can come up with some big time saves too when we need it. So that just adds a calming presence to all the players in front of her as we go through the season.
With Patriot League play starting next weekend, Lee says the Black Knights need 2 things to be successful this season.
I would say just effort and intensity from the second the game starts till the very last whistle.
Lee will be in this exact spot on Sunday when the Black Knights take on Marist. We'll be back with more Black Knights Weekly after this short timeout.
Army football tickets are on sale now. Don't miss a minute of the day-long excitement at West Point's historic Michie Stadium, the greatest place to watch college football. Come out on Saturday, October 1st. The Black Knights take on Tulane. Kickoff is at noon. It's homecoming. The first 5,000 fans will receive a bobblehead of Earl Red Blake. Call the Army ticket office at 877-TIX-ARMY or go online at goarmysports.com. Army football. It's more than just a game at West Point.
Earlier in the show, you heard about the football team's big win over Northwestern last Saturday, and one of the key players in that win was Nate Combs. Rich DeMarco has more.
There may be no Army football player who's more thankful to finally be making a difference on the field than linebacker Nate Combs. The junior from New Albany, Indiana, emerged from being a reserve as a freshman to cracking the starting lineup to begin 2010 before a knee injury, literally minutes into the season opener at Eastern Michigan, ended his year. Through 3 games in 2011, Combs has begun to fulfill the promise of what was expected of him last year. And last week against Northwestern, Combs had 3 tackles, including a sack on Northwestern's final drive to help preserve Army's first victory of the season.
I just felt my legs were under me. I felt fresher. All the guys around me were. A-Rod's been helping me out. Steve Erzinger's been helping me out with the mental, getting my assignments right. So I was just flying to the ball, honestly, just having fun. That's the biggest thing, is just having fun with your brothers out there.
Combs says getting back to 100% was much more than being certain his surgically repaired knee was sound.
It was just like mental, I guess the biggest thing was. you know, to get out here. I know physically I would be fine. I would still be able to run, but mentally just getting enough reps, you know, adjusting to the speed of D1 football, you know. Going out there versus Big Ten, you know, and then winning was a huge accomplishment, not for just me, but the whole team, and it was awesome. So, you know, I feel fine. I feel 100%, so I'm ready to go.
And head coach Rich Ellerson envisions Combs' role growing as the season goes on.
And he'll improve as time goes on there because, again, I still feel like he was one of the more rangy guys on our football team, and that's why we were looking at him in some other spots. And as I think he gets settled down and gets comfortable, you know, he's more confidence in that leg and whatnot. He'll be a rangier football player than maybe anybody that's played that position for us so far since I've been here.
And during those months of rehabilitation, Combs credits teammate Andrew Rodriguez, who missed the entire 2010 season with an injury, of pushing him to get back.
A-Rod and I, like, you know, we fed off each other, I'd say. You know, we both set out last year. We're in the booth a lot of times, you know, getting pretty frustrated, you know, that we weren't out there to help our guys out. And we call it like a redemption year. You know, we're back together. We're both out there having a great time. And luckily we're at the same position right now, just causing havoc. So it's a lot of fun.
And Combs feels that experience of watching his teammates from afar has made him a better player.
Oh, yeah, I definitely think it is, because not only do I know my assignment, I know what the coaches expect out of my position as well as the rest of the positions. So, you know, it's fun to see it all come together. Like, you know why you spill a specific block. You know, you're not just focused on the individual assignment, but the whole team assignment. And I think that's helping us as a defense because we have guys like me, A-Rod, Steve Erzinger.
And with that extra perspective, as well as a role that looks to expand as the season goes on, there definitely are great things to come for Nate Combs and the Army defense. For Black Knights Weekly, I'm Rich DeMarco.
The football team heads to Muncie, Indiana on Saturday for a matchup with Ball State. Kickoff is at 2 p.m. We'll have more Black Knights Weekly after this.
Army fans, there's no better place to be before a West Point football game than Black Knights Alley. Open 3 hours before kickoff, come out and avoid the traffic crunch. Black Knights Alley features fun for the whole family. From the Black Knight Walk to face painting and autographs with Army athletics teams and mascots, to live music, food and beverages, inflatable games, interactive displays, and the live broadcast of the Army Football Tailgate Show. There literally is something for everyone. So make a day of it. That's Black Knights Alley, 3 hours before every Army home game along Mills Road. Army football, more than just a game.
It's that time of the show. Here's this week's weekend preview. The men's tennis team starts things off as they return to the court for the first time since last spring's NCAA championships. Here's head coach Jim Poling previewing the weekend.
We're pumped up. We're really pumped. We've been playing hard, working hard, and the weather's been great lately. We're sending half our team to the U.S. Open for an intercollegiate tournament. The other half's going to St. Joe's down in Philly, and they're all going to play some good competition. We're ready to go. We've been waiting for this for a long time.
Back at West Point, the women's tennis team will host the Eastern Championships for the 13th consecutive season. Head coach Paul Peck is excited for his team to take on the competition.
You know, it's an exciting tournament for us to host. I think it's a great way to showcase our facilities. And we'll have 20 teams coming in, and teams from all over the East. It's a neat competition because it's early in the year. It's a chance to get matches in. Also, it's a chance to see, you know, how your players are stacking up to the other players in the East.
The volleyball team heads to the Lehigh Valley to open up the Patriot League portion of their schedule at Lehigh and Lafayette. Head coach Alma Cavacci says her team is excited to start league play.
Practices have been very focused, and the team's looking forward to playing Lehigh and Lafayette this weekend. Preseason games are very, very good for us. We learned about what are we good at, what we need to work at, and I thought we did a very good job during this preseason games.
Coming off last week's win over Northwestern, the football team looks to make it 2 in a row at Ball State Saturday afternoon. Head coach Rich Ellerson likes the growth the Black Knights made last week.
The identity this team has created for itself, its legacy, it's what it'll be known for is how it plays. Snap in and snap out. Doesn't matter what the scoreboard says, doesn't matter what happened on the last snap. Hopefully it won't matter where we are, what state we're in, day or night. on the next snap, the next time somebody snaps a football, we're going to come out of our shoes at you. And now we're proving that we can do that and be a little more right, be a little more disciplined with our eyes and feet.
Saturday night, the men's soccer team hosts Holy Cross in its first Patriot League contest of the year. Head coach Russell Payne says his team knows there is something extra that comes with league games.
Obviously, styles of play vary per team to team, but it just comes down to significance. And you know, being in the Patriot League, we all know, we're all aware of the need to get results in the league if you want to go to postseason play. And that's what I mean, the significance of each game, and knowing that you have to take points home to have a chance at the postseason. You know, you can't be consumed by that. You have to still concentrate on the process through those games, but at the end of the day, you have to always be aware of, hey, there's a little bit more that goes towards the outcomes, or there's a little more towards the outcomes of these games than the non-conference games. That's just the reality of it.
The golf team will ramp up their competition this weekend as they play a pair of dual matches against nationally ranked Georgia and Princeton. Head coach Brian Watts believes this weekend will be a perfect build-up to next week's showdown with Navy.
That was kind of the purpose behind all this, is to have an opportunity to go down and compete against some really great teams, Georgia being one of them, and Princeton being the other, and kind of get it out of their system as far as any nerves and the opportunity to kind of learn a little bit more about match play. We obviously don't play a lot of match play in collegiate golf, but yet it's, you know, the Army-Navy match is all based on best ball as well as match play.
The women's soccer team will close out the weekend as they host Marist. Head coach Stephanie Golan says this is a great way to finish up the non-league portion of their schedule.
Marist, you know, being in close proximity to us is always a fun little rivalry that brings out a lot of fans to the game. So we're excited. They're doing well this year. They've played some common opponents, and we're excited for a good game.
That will do it for another episode of Black Knights Weekly. For everyone here at ITT Night Vision, we hope that you enjoyed watching today's show. We'll see you next week. So long, everybody.